Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the season finale to season 4 of Prime Video's The Boys. And boy, oh boy, what a conclusion. This has been an exciting season of this show. I have loved every single episode. Going into this season finale, I was a little nervous because everything was firing on all cylinders. I felt every single episode was excellent, which is normally a setup for me to be let down in the season finale. If you followed the Acolyte reviews that we were doing here on the concession stand this season, you noticed that, well, I wasn't hyped up throughout that show, but it just, the season finale was so, I don't even want to get into that. But this was set up for me to be disappointed. And boy, oh boy, I was not. This was an awesome ending to this season, which sets up so much peril and turmoil going into his 5th and final season. And just to recap, going into this year, it takes, this season, I should say, season 4 picks up 6 months after the events of season 3. Victoria Newman is closer to the White House and is pretty much under the control of Homelander, who has consolidated his power, so to speak. And we have Billy Butcher, who is diagnosed with cancer and took the V virus last season and is deteriorating his body. He only has months to live, and he has to find a way to work with the boys, who basically kicked him out because they got tired of his lies and his backstabbing, I guess you could say, to get the job done. And so with that setup going into this season, what more could we get? Well, this season we got new characters with Sister Sage. We got A-Train turning his back on Vault and Homelander and working with the boys, and the emergence of Huey's mother, who has been MIA for years, and I'm still having my question marks about that. And you have Huey's father going through what he went through this season, and Starlight with her trauma and personal issues that she's dealing with on top of everything that's going on. Chemical dealing with her past, Frenchie dealing with his past, and Mother's Milk basically about to stress out and have a heart attack because of all the pressure of this job. And it's so much. And on top of that, you have Homelander and Ryan. He's trying to be the super father figure and protect his son and train his son up in his image, or shape him up in his image, I should say. And it just a lot was going on. And Homelander dealing with his past a lot as well. What I enjoyed about this season was confronting the past. Homelander confronting his past in that epic episode this season. Chemical confronting her past. Frenchie confronting his past. Starlight, a decision she made in the past that affected her currently, with the new character of Firecracker, who was an interesting character as well, who is from Starlight's past also. And you have Butcher, dealing with what he's dealing with and still confronting his past. Every character had an issue. Every character, whether they were good or bad or neutral, every character had an issue that they were dealing with that basically started in their past, decisions that they made in their past and affecting their future. And that is what we're confronted with in season 4. And it was beautifully written and acted and directed. It was this was probably one of the best seasons of The Boys. If I had to sit down and think about it, it, it wasn't an action-packed season. At least none of them are really, but past seasons have had more action. But it's not the action that you go to this show for. It's the storytelling. It's the character work here, and I absolutely loved this season, and it wrapped up so well with episode 8. We all know it. Well, I'm not going to say we all know, but the initial title of episode 8, the season finale, was Assassination Run. That was the title of the episode. They quickly changed the title. And if you've been living under a rock over the past week, you know why they changed that title. I didn't have to look it up and see why. You know why. They changed the title to this episode to season 4 finale. That was the title of this episode. And I understand why. I get it. And that was one of the things that crept into my mind last Saturday when the events took place in Pennsylvania, that, oh, man, The Boys coming up. The Boys next episode is dealing with an assassination attempt on the president. And I was like, wait, this is hitting real close to home. This show has a unique way of putting real world issues in this fictional world. I mean, it's dealing with MAGA. It's dealing with September the 6th. I mean, not September. January the 6th. Is dealing with, I guess you could say, Trump. All that stuff is incorporated in this show without it saying it just out loud, make America great again. But this show does it. And it did another whammy by predicting the future, I guess you could say, when they announced the title of this episode a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, okay, all right, now we coming to this crescendo. And then that happened over the weekend. And I was like, oh, man, what they going to do? Are they going to postpone the season finale of The Boys because of this? I'm telling you, in no disrespect to the lives that were lost, the people that was injured in that assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, who was clipped in the ear or whatever. But that was where my thoughts went. I'm sorry. But they did change the title of the episode, but they did not change the content. We still got an assassination attempt, and to a degree, you did get an assassination in this episode. This episode begins with Ryan and Mallory. They go to visit Butcher, who's in the hospital. If you remember last episode, Butcher fell out at that bar, and he's in this hospital. They come to visit him, and one thing leads to another, and Mallory reveals the truth to Ryan. And the truth was that Homelander raped his mother. That's how he came to be. It wasn't an affair, as he's been told his whole life. He is the result of a rape. And Mallory has basically trapped Ryan in this hospital, which is actually a CIA bunker, and I think the walls were like 6 feet thick, he said in a scene there. But they trapped him in there to convince him, to keep him in there, to convince him to turn against Homelander, to basically turn against his father. And he wasn't having it, he was not having it. And one thing leads to another. He kills Mallory. Now whether he did it intentionally or not, I'm still on the fence with that, but he didn't care. He left after he threw Mallory out the way, and she broke her neck, against the wall. It was a vicious throw. He just looked, turned at Butcher, and walked out of the facility. And, at that point, a great chill crept up my spine, because I was all I could think about is Homelander and the look he had on his face. They did perfect casting for this role of Ryan, because he had the same look as Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. They just looked so much alike. And when he turned and looked at Butcher, and I was like, well, that's that. We got two Homelanders to deal with now. And it scared me to death. And Butcher, still having his hallucinations, still can see Kessler, and he turns and looks at Kessler, and Kessler just gives him that little smile and nod, as to say that I told you so, I told you so. And so meanwhile, we have Homelander. He directs the remaining members of the Seven to kill everyone or anyone with harmful information against Vault. Shockingly, we didn't get A-Train in this episode. It was weird to see that he wasn't in the episode at all. But he's on a run now, because they know the jig is up. He's the mole. And so Homelander orders anybody that knows information, harmful information, basically anybody outside that room, he wants them dead. And one of the main ones in the deep is the one who mentioned Ashley. And she was eavesdropping on the other side of the door. And so Homelander gave the okay, yeah, kill Ashley. She has harmful information. So she goes and injects herself with Compound V that's in Homelander's office. And so she goes and injects herself with that. Frenchie, he manages to extract the virus from Chemical's leg that was infected last episode, and they cut off before it infected her whole body. But he was able to get the virus out of her leg. The boys, they sit in the underground bunker with President-elect Singer, and Huey realizes that Annie, who is Starlight, is the shapeshifter. Now, previously, he proposed. Well, she proposed, or it proposed, or they proposed, however, whatever this shapeshifter is, proposed for marriage. And he accepted, of course, and gave her a ring that he was going to propose to her with, and gave it to her. But while they were in the bunker, he realizes, like, wait, because she said something that jogged his memory, where the shapeshifter, when they found her in the previous episode in that apartment, says the same thing. It's like a furnace in here or something to that effect. And she says the same thing in that bunker, and Huey immediately realized that this is the shapeshifter. And so the fight breaks out in the bunker, and Annie had managed to free herself, where the shapeshifter had her locked up, and that was an awesome scene. Shots out to the actress who plays Starlight. That scene where she was basically, it was just her, two of hers, having this heated conversation. I thought that was an amazing scene. She acted her butt off in that scene. I was pleasantly surprised, even though she's been good the entire series. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. I enjoy all the actors on this show, but it was something about that scene that was like the standout for me. Her performance in that scene. But she breaks herself out, the real Annie, and gets to the bunker and manages to kill the shapeshifter. Meanwhile, we have Frenchie and Chemical. They repair their relationship. They manage to hash things out, so to speak, and they kiss. And that's what we've been waiting for 4 seasons, to see them actually come together, because they do have a love and respect for one another that I think it was done right. Initially I was like, why are they stringing us along with this relationship? But I like how it grew. I love how it grew, because they truly do have love for one another. And this is with Chemical not even being able to speak. They still manage to express their love and communicate through love. Ain't that sweet? And we get a banger at the end of this episode, which I'm gonna get to, involving them too. That was just like it was a jaw dropping moment. My jaw hit the ground when that happened. But we're gonna get to that. Uh, Homelander reveals that Newman is a soup on Firecracker's little TV show, her little Tucker Carlson show that she has, and Newman is hot. She's been outed on national TV, something that she spent her whole life hiding. And Homelander just said, "All right, well, we're gonna stop the lies. Let's tell the truth. You're a soup." And he demonstrates it by lasering her, but she was able to fend it off because she's a soup. And so shows the world that she's actually a soup. And this upsets Singer, her running mate. Well, not her running, yeah, her running mate. And that's what led to the bunker and all that other stuff. I'm telling this out all out of order, because this is the way I took the notes. So bear with me. But yeah, she was outed, but that prompted her to agree to a truce with the boys, and agrees to have a meeting with them because she wants to protect Zoe, her daughter, of course, and get away, to protect her and her daughter, and basically go into seclusion. But before that can happen, they have the meeting, but we get the scene where we saw Butcher, in the terms of Star Wars, go to the dark side. He embraces his dark side and allows Kessler to, I guess, take over, and he's able to use his power with those tentacles that come out of his chest. And with that, he rips, rips Newman in half at that meeting. And it was like, wow. Wow. This was not a subtle end to her character. And so he goes on and he steals the virus, still wants to use the virus, and leaves them all in shock and awe. And so back at Vault Tower, we see Sister Sage has returned and goes to Homelander, who's upset, who's mad as fish grease when he gets the news about Newman's death, because that was the patsy, that was going to be the Trojan horse into the White House. And and he's visibly upset. And Sage comes in and she's all happy-go-lucky, like, yeah, we did it. And and he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, Newman is dead. Oh, that was part of the plan. And I knew there was more to this. I knew you could not just throw off Sage. You could not outsmart Sage. She's the smartest person in the world. And so I was wondering where are they heading with this from last episode when Homelander fired her from the 7. And so it was like, where is this going? And when she revealed all that she's the plan, basically, the steps, and I'm like, okay. You could do nothing but say, oh, all right, that makes sense. Because it all made sense. It all came together perfectly. It really did. It wasn't convoluted. It wasn't this Bond villain master plan to take over the world type thing. This was like a strategic coup, and it worked perfectly to plan. She was able to leak footage of President-elect Singer talking about if you would have killed Newman when I told you to, none of this would have happened, something that he actually did say. So she was able to leak that to the press, and they end up arresting the President of the United States, which is also par for the course there. And due to all of those events, they enacted the 25th Amendment. And so instead of Newman becoming the president, you had Calhoun become the president, the Speaker of the House, who was at that party with them all, and was basically on Homelander's side and all this here. And so he swears allegiance to Homelander. And so Calhoun enacts deep martial law and deputizes Homelander to get an army of superheroes across the country to hunt down deep state starlighters. So we get to the end of the episode. We see Butcher is driving off with the virus. At the same time, the rest of the boys are being ambushed and captured by Vault, and they're led by Soups. So Annie managed to escape. She's the only one that manages to escape. Huey gets taken away. Frenchie and Chemical, they get caught up, and they get caught off by the two. Oh man, I keep every time they pop up on the show, I forget their name, but they were on Generation or Gen V, the show that's based the little spinoff show from the boys. One of them who has the power to manipulate, to whisper in your ear, she talks to Frenchie, and Frenchie walks off with them. Chemical is being held back, and this was the jaw-dropping moment. Chemical just trying with all her being, and man, once again, the actress who plays Chemical, great job, because in case you don't know, she can talk in real life. Karen, I can't think of her last name, but her name is Karen. But throughout this show, she has not uttered a word, and we finally get one here, and it's no, and she's screaming out no. It's like it was painful for her to get it out, but she finally gets it out, and it was like, oh my god, and it was painful. Not painful because it was hurting her to say it, but painful that Frenchie couldn't hear it, and it was, oh my god, it was gut wrenching. Beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful parts of this episode, even though this episode was glorious throughout. And so you have that going on. Mother's Milk, he gets caught as well. And so this is basically where the season ends. But it's not over. We get a mid-credit scene. And with this mid-credit scene, it sets up season 5 to be a juggernaut, an Avengers in-game level event that's going to take place in season 5. In the mid-credit scene, newly appointed President Calhoun, he shows Homelander where Soldier Boy is being held captive, and he's in this coma in this little chamber thing. And in case you don't remember, Soldier Boy is Homelander's father, and he's just as strong. He's basically the only one who can stop Soldier Boy. I mean, he's the only one who can stop Homelander. And I believe when Sage told Homelander last episode that there's one person that can beat you, she was talking about Soldier Boy. That's the one person who can defeat you, and without my help, you would never you'll never beat him. And I think that's what this is. Man, what an ending to this magnificent season of The Boys, season 4. I really enjoyed this season. I mean, top to bottom, the acting was amazing. The writing was amazing. The direction was amazing. It still kept the continuity of crude humor and sight gags that will be like, what are we looking at? The gore was there. Everything was there for you. Like I said, it wasn't the biggest action-packed season of the show so far, but it didn't need to be. I think it's setting up for next season, the final season, to be something to watch. I am so excited and mad at the same time that we have to wait, because I don't know when season 5 is coming out. Do we have to wait 2 years again for this? I don't know, but man, I am so excited and hyped up for what's coming next, and so happy for what we got. The Boys season 4 as a whole gets a letter grade of an A-. This was an excellent season of television. If I know the Emmy nominations came out for this prior year, next year around this time, names that should be thrown out there, names that should be called, is Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, Carl Urban, who plays Butcher, Aaron Moriarty, who plays Starlight. You can throw the actor who plays Frenchie in there, Toma Capone. You can throw who else did an excellent job this season. I mean everybody. Honestly, I cannot think of anybody who mailed it in this season. Everybody came to play. Everybody brought their A game. Tilda Swinton as the voice of the octopus. she killed it. No pun intended. I love the acting on this show this season. Amazing. Great job by all the hands behind the camera, the showrunners, the writers, directors. Excellent job. Excellent season. Can't wait for season 5. But I would love to know, what did you think of season 4 as a whole and this season finale of The Boys? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of the season finale of The Boys, and for joining me for the entire season of The Boys. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. This was fun. I'm going to miss reviewing this show. I can't wait for season 5, man. It needs to hurry up. I hope they start filming soon. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.